Formerly known as Highveld Evraz Mines, has a market cap of 2 billion rand. It made a loss in its last reporting period and also currently not paying a dividend. Also been battling a strike recently, like many of the mines here in South Africa. Tell us about Evraz, Paul.
So this is the old Highveld Steel, was part of the Anglo-American group. Two parts to the operation. The one is a magnetite mine, which is a form of iron ore which has titanium in it and also vanadium. That's a mine called MAGNETITE, which is on a town near Roos-Senekal, which is on the road from, like Bethel to Leidenburg.
You really do know your geography, Paul. I love the way you bring that in.
Then there is a steel plant, the old Highveld steel plant, big dirty thing as you drive into, I was about to say Witbank, now known as eMalahleni. So that's all fine. The problem is it was always a terribly cyclical business. Evraz, the guys who bought it, as Ashraf says, part of the global Russian oligarch-controlled thing, which at some level or other is part of Roman Abramovich's empire. I can assure you he takes this asset less seriously than he does Chelsea Football Club. But it's not really something that the public can get invested in because it's held like 90% of the shares are either with Evraz or with their bankers.
Okay, so what does Evraz mean to you right now, apart from the fact that they've got this, Russian titan having some kind of stake in it and very tightly held? Is there any value in the company?
Look, to me, there is very little value in the company right now. I think because it's tightly held, the price hasn't fallen to the same extent that you have seen with some of the other steel companies globally. And equally, they will pay dividends as and when the biggest shareholder requires the cash flow. I remember in 2007, 2008, they were certainly taking a lot of cash out and funding some of that with debt. But that hasn't happened in the recent past, given where the markets are. And as Paul said, I guess they're less interested in this than Chelsea Football Club. I mean, 2 billion rand doesn't touch sides with Abramovich. I'm sure that's the price of his biggest yacht.
That's what he paid for Eden Hazard at the beginning of this season. Yeah.
I'm not even going to start in this conversation because I'm not going to go down the soccer lane. But tell us, is there anything else?
The point you make about earnings is valid because they made like 26 rands or something of earnings in 2008. Now the share price is at 20 rand a share. So they literally got as a dividend a couple of years ago what you pay for the whole thing now. But that's the hallmark of companies like this. Because remember, we're not only talking about the cyclicality of steel demand in this country, but the vanadium is shipped around the world for other steel makers to add to their steel in order to make high carbon steels, high vanadium steels, which is used for aircraft engines and drill bits and stuff like that. So that cycle, the cycle of demand for vanadium, was always really what drove their results.
And their vanadium production was down in Q2 by 23%. Yeah. Their hot metal production down 17%. They talk about the fact that they're going through, they say, a business restabilization process. Basically, they're just, reorganizing, restructuring to the cycle, which is depressed.
Absolutely. And I think that's, you'll see that in a lot of steel businesses. Just going back to AMSA, they did quite a bit of work on their Newcastle business, and you saw capacity utilization fall down to 25% last year. It's now obviously picked up, and you will get that happening in Evraz, and you'll see profitability pick up. But again, they can manage their margins because they only answer to one significant shareholder.
Okay, so let's get into it. Hot or not?
If you had an investment account with R1 billion in it, and you were a strong commodity, bull, you might put a few in here just to see whether you can't get your money back in dividends in 2 or 3 years' time if everything goes well. But for most mortals, that's not really a serious
investment. For mere mortals, is the stock hot?
Unfortunately, no, not even at current depressed levels, not hot for me.
20 rand, not hot or not?
I'm going to go with Paul on this one.